Britain is losing its own people. Nobody counted them. I arrived in Birmingham with one suitcase. The idea was simple. Britain was the place where things worked. You paid your taxes. The state gave you something back. That was the deal. Britain is quietly losing its own people, and most people don't realize the scale yet.
Welcome to Fix Britain. No politics, no lies, no propaganda, just logic and common sense for you.
This year, Britons will work 162 days solely to pay their taxes. That is longer than any point since
the record began.
That is deal right now. A 32-year-old software developer, that kind of person I've spoken to more than once, packed a laptop and a suitcase. He moved to Warsaw, not for adventure. He did the numbers. He take-home pay working remotely on a British contract by living in Poland in the city center. Still leaves more at the end of the month than he had in Coventry. It's not unusual. So the question I want to answer today is simple. Why are so many Britons deciding that their future is somewhere else? Because when I started researching his story, I expected to find people leaving for better weather. What I found instead was something much more surprising. And by the end of this video, you will understand why some of Britain's most productive people are quietly walking away. In 2026, 257,000 British nationals left the United Kingdom permanently. That is the population of Portsmouth. Gone in 1 year. The following year, close 250,000 again. So why does it feel invisible? Because the 30 years the government wasn't counting. The previous official estimate for 2024, 77,000 people. The real number, once they actually checked the records, 257,000. That is country that forgot to watch who was walking out the door. And once you understand that, you start asking a different question. What else is Britain not fully seeing? In 4 years, close to 1 million British nationals emigrated permanently. Net loss after returns over 300,000. Who are they? Around 2/3 were ages between 16 and 34. Not retirees, not people living at the end of their life, people at the beginning. The age at which you build a future or decide to build it somewhere else. And that raises a question what nobody in Westminster wants to answer. Why are so many young British people deciding that Britain is not where their future is? Your parents bought a home, you rent a room. Your grandparents expected one income to support a family. Many young Britons now need 2 incomes just to stand still. Your grandparents retired at 60. You are told to work until nearly 70. They paid less tax. They received more services. You pay more and receive less. The average house in Britain now costs 9 times the average salary. That number alone tells you everything about the deal that changed. And the software developer from Coventry, he understands this, not as statistics, as the life he was living. Where did they go? Spain, France, Ireland, Australia? They established routes, but 3 countries recorded the fastest growth in British residents between 2020 and 2024. Poland, Malta, Romania. 20 years ago, people left Poland for Britain. Today, same Britons are moving the other way. Not because Poland became richer than Britain. But because for some young professionals, the gap in living standard has become far smaller than the gap in living cost. That is not a political statement. That is an inversion. Something fundamental has flipped. And then there is Dubai. Inquiries from British nationals wanting to move to the UAE rose by 420% in 5 years, according to one of the UK's largest international removal companies. An estimated 240,000 British expats now live in Dubai alone. The reason most of them give is simple: no income tax. And at the top, private wealth analysis estimated a new outflow of around 9,500 millionaires from the UK in 2024 alone. When the people with the most choices choose to leave, that is not the lifestyle, that is a verdict. And this matters for everyone else, because every engineer who leaves, every entrepreneur who leaves, every skilled worker who leaves, takes tax revenue, investment, and future growth with them. The people most able to leave are often the people Britain can last afford to lose. A survey asked British people directly, if you could relocate, would you leave? Not adventure, not weather. 47% said lower taxes, 32% lower cost of living, 29% a better balance between work and life. There are not people chasing something exotic. There are people who did the same calculation as that software developer and reached the same answer. I want to be precise about what this is. This is not about whether taxes are good or bad. Every country collects taxes. This is not about Labour or the Conservatives. The pattern runs through both governments. This is about a ratio, what you pay in versus what comes back. According to the Office of Budget Responsibility, Britain's tax burden is on the track to reach its highest level since current records begin in 1948. At the same time, the NHS has 7 million people on the waiting list. Roads are collapsing. The pension age keeps rising. This is not theory, this is selection. The people who have options are using them. Last month, the software developer sent me a message. He sent me a photo, not of a Ferrari, not a penthouse, just a kitchen table, a normal flat, the kind of place that used to be ordinary in Britain. He said, I couldn't afford this back home. He did not hate Britain. He did the maths, and Britain lost the argument. And if hundreds of thousands of people are reaching the same conclusion, the real question is not why they are leaving. The real question is why Britain is giving them a reason to. So the question becomes, what do you actually get in Warsaw, in Dubai, in Lisbon for the money that stays in your pocket? Is the deal better, or is there a cost that does not appear in the brochure? If you want to understand why Britain is losing its people, you first need to understand what other countries build instead. Subscribe for more, and I will show you. Thank you for your attention. Bye.